At the moment, the United States has nearly 100,000 of our troops situated in Europe. Some of them have been there for a long time. Most have been there for a long time. Thousands more, though, were just sent in recent days to assure our NATO allies that they had our support in the event that Russia invades a non-NATO country. What this entire months-long debacle has proven is that the United States is NATO. There's not much to it besides us. It's the raw deal that Trump told you it was when he was president. NATO is an amazing deal for everyone except the United States. For example, Germany is a massive country with a ton of cash. The Germans have sent 350 more troops to Lithuania in response to Russian aggression. Other countries are sending maybe 50 or 75. Without us, most of the NATO response to this potential invasion would be able to fit inside the same nightclub in Kiev. Today, President Biden actually talked to reporters before an event in Ohio. He never does this, but for a potential new war that his White House is perhaps desperate to see, he made time today.
We have reason to believe that they are engaged in a false flag operation to have an excuse to go in.
Do you think he's going to go through with this, sir? Is your sense that this is going to happen now?
Yes. My sense this will happen in the next several days.
Well, the truth is he may not be wrong. Overnight, we saw some shelling between Ukraine and the rebels who support Russia but live inside Ukraine. They're called the separatists. This is a kindergarten that was hit by an artillery shell that we do not know who fired it. 3 adults were hurt. Thankfully, no kids were hurt at all. It would make sense, though, that Russia would try to convince the world that Ukraine attacked them first, though Ukrainian soldiers are under orders to not fire back, as we understand it. Our Secretary of State, woefully underprepared for a situation like this, wasted his morning speaking at maybe the most meaningless and feckless organization on the planet, that, of course, being the United Nations.
Russia plans to manufacture a pretext for its attack. We are laying it out in great detail with the hope that by sharing what we know with the world, we can influence Russia to abandon the path of war and choose a different path while there's still time.
Well, also today, the Russians expelled the #2 guy from our embassy in Moscow. So there's that development as well as this thing deteriorates. We're going to go now to our correspondent, Sarah Williamson, who is live in eastern Ukraine tonight, near the action and where the conflict, I believe, between Ukraine and the separatists has been going on for many years. Sarah, just tell us the update tonight as you stand out there in the rain.
Yes, good evening, Rob, or good morning here. You're absolutely right. This conflict has been going on for many years now, and along the red line, along this eastern border with Ukraine, there is signs of it everywhere. I mean, when we're traveling along, you can just see the destruction around you. There is bombed out buildings everywhere, and it really is just a really sad sign that you can see throughout our travels as well. You can actually hear these ceasefire violations every single day. There's around 10 ceasefire violations coming in from the Russian separatists every day. But as you mentioned, overnight, last night and throughout this past 24 hours, we've actually heard upwards of 29 ceasefire violations, including that kindergarten that you spoke of. Further to that as well, a school was actually hit that had 30 students and 14 staff members present at the time. Thankfully, nobody was injured in that as well. There's actually been several other civilian injuries as well, further to those 2 women that you mentioned that were injured in that kindergarten. So it really has been an intense situation along this border. We've also heard news of Russian social media platforms, which are actually blocked in this area as well, who have been recommending that people in these areas, because we're actually in coexisting neighbourhoods along this border as well, evacuate some of these areas, which is a sure sign that perhaps maybe we are expecting an invasion anytime soon. So the people in these areas are extremely worried. We've spoken to them, and they have been living in these signs of conflict for many years now. And when we ask them how they're feeling, they have their bags packed and they say this is their home, this is what they go through. But until they see these signs, they just have to sit here and wait and hopefully just head west if they can at that time.
And Sarah, if you can still hear me, just a quick question. Russia claims that their separatists in eastern Ukraine are the victims of a genocide being conducted against them by the Ukrainians. Is that just utter nonsense? Is there any potential truth to that at all?
There is, you can see by the look on my face by the minute you started asking that question, there is absolutely no truth to that whatsoever. We have travelled along this red line from up in Slavansk, which is towards the north of northeast of Ukraine, heading now down towards the south. And we actually were in the south of Ukraine earlier before we headed up to the east. And the people around here are absolutely wonderful. We have not seen one single sign of a genocide, Rob, anywhere to be seen throughout Ukraine. There is just there's children running around. There is lovely families that we've met. We've had Ukrainian families invite us to our home and feed us and house us and cook for us, and they've just been absolutely hospitable, loving, warm people. There is no signs of genocide anywhere around here whatsoever. It's just absolute fake news.
Not a big surprise, I guess. Yeah, Sarah Williamson, live for us, doing the dirty work there in eastern Ukraine. Stay safe out there. I know it's very early in the morning, about 5 o'clock in the morning there in Ukraine. Thank you, Sarah, very much. We appreciate it. All right. Well, the situation right now, as you see, is so perilous that the United States had no choice, of course, to send in the big guns. That's right. Vice President Kamala Harris is set to meet tomorrow with NATO's Secretary General. And as we all know, if anybody can solve this problem, of course Kamala can. That is, if she can stop laughing long enough. On Saturday, Kamala will deliver a big speech and meet with the leaders of Germany and Ukraine, provided they're not already in a war. If you're wondering how qualified Harris is to handle a situation like this, let's take you back to a fun little moment from last year. Lester Holt asking about the last debacle that Kamala couldn't solve, the southern border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe. And I mean, I don't understand the point that you're making.
Well, she hasn't been to Europe either. I'm pretty sure Putin is very worried about the arrival of Kamala Harris into this equation. And as you watch all this and you see just how bold Vladimir Putin can be when Donald Trump is not in the White House, please, please never forget this classic Biden moment from the 2020 campaign trail.
Because Putin knows if I am president of the United States, his days of tyranny and trying to intimidate the United States and those in Eastern Europe are over. I'm going to stand up to him. He's a bully, just like the president. And I know he doesn't want me to be president, but to tell you what, when I'm president, things are going to change.
I mean, is there anything funnier than that? I mean, it's just the most ridiculous thing you can ever imagine. You do notice that we are much more engaged in this conflict this time around. The last time Putin made a move in Russia, Biden was also in the White House. They sent blankets into Ukraine. This time, the conflict is much more politically beneficial, though, so we're seeing a much different kind of response.